around the holidays. Well, we'll try not to give you heartburn, yeah?
It's my 4-6. This is 6. Is exactly that way.
It looks like
These.
missing that.
Oh yeah. Well, it was an apple. Girl, the brother had the stool out and he just kind of accidentally pushed her.
Oops.
Knocked her tooth right out of her head.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Involuntary
So I get to see
extraction.
him Friday. Very excited. Yes. I think the weather's going to cooperate too. Don't.
Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock on December 16th, 2025. We will call this regular meeting of the Township Board of the Charter Township of Meridian to order. First on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone who is able please rise and join us for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we move on, I'd like to ask everyone for a moment of silence. Meridian Township this week lost a terrific public servant in Patricia Herring Jackson. Pat served for nearly a quarter of a century in various capacities for the township. From 2001 to 2016, she was on our planning commission. She served as a township trustee from 2016 to 2022, and then was appointed and later elected township supervisor from 2022 to 2024, the first African-American woman in this township to serve in an elected capacity. She was a tremendous asset. She was kind, she was whip smart, and she will be missed. We'd ask please for a moment of silence. May her memory be a blessing to us all, especially her husband, her late husband, Julius, and her husband, Julius, pardon me, and her children and grandchildren. Our next agenda item is item 3, roll call. Will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Here.
Clerk Demas here. Treasurer Burkhart? Trustee Lentz?
Here.
Trustee Sunland?
Here.
Trustee Trezise?
Here.
Trustee Wilson?
Here.
6 board members present.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is item 4, presentations. We have none. Item 5 is citizens address agenda items and non-agenda items. There are several opportunities for public comment at tonight's meeting. One right now, we have a public hearing at item 10 for Hazlet Village Square Brownfield Redevelopment Plan Amendment number 2, and then one at the conclusion of the meeting. Those who wish to address the board must complete one of these green cards, which are located on the table by the door, and present the card to the board or a member of the township staff. When it's your turn, I'll call you up to the podium to speak to the topics indicated. While it's not required, it is helpful for the sake of our meeting minutes if you would provide your name and address for the record at the beginning of your remarks. Citizens are required to limit comments to 3 minutes. An automated system will keep track of the time, and an indicator light and audible beep will alert you when your time has expired. Members of the board value public comment and input. The meeting format, however, does restrict board members from engaging in conversation with commenters or answering questions directly. Questions or concerns may be addressed by board members at a later time or referred to a member of the township staff to follow up on. Please remember to address all comments to the board or the board's chair and not to individual board members or others in the audience. We have one green card this evening from Vincent to Monica.
And this is about the authentic Socamus proposal. The problem with the proposed development is not the concept of apartment complexes in themselves, but of this particular development and its placement in the proposed location. West of Oak, there are contrasting examples of where nearby municipalities and townships are placing their apartments. If you go west of Oakmas along Grand River Avenue, well, let me start with Williamstown Township and Williamston. They have placed their apartment complexes along Grand River Avenue. They've explicitly stated this is done in part to preserve the character of their single-family home neighborhoods. The master plan and clearly delineated zoning map ensures the continuity of past good practice. And they're continuing that in the upcoming master plan. West of Okemos along Grand River Avenue in East Lansing, large apartment complexes are lined up in a row along Grand River Avenue. You can see them sandwiched in between Michigan Avenue and the Red Cedar River as you go down into East Lansing. Further west, big apartment buildings are clustered together in downtown East Lansing. And I lived in East Lansing for many years, and I saw that, they weren't apartment complexes were not being pushed into single-family neighborhoods. Yet further west, after Grand River Avenue becomes Michigan Avenue, masses of apartment buildings are clustered together at Frandor. They're near similar housing in the MSU dormitories. It makes good sense for similar housing to be in proximity to each other. People in the phase of life where apartments are most attractive and practical have more in common with each other and their lifestyles than they do with those in single-family homes. I know, because I was in college for 7 years and I went through that phase. Moreover, these municipalities are not being challenged for being exclusionary because they are not denying apartment living. They're merely placing it in appropriate areas, which results in everyone being happier. With that said, I want to congratulate the board for 4 recommendations that they generated at the December 2nd meeting. Board Chair Scott Hendrickson, if I'm allowed to mention names, the recommendation that the number of units in a compromise would be reduced from 288 to 206. He's correct in applying the math for unit density to those parcels which can actually be built upon, the center parcel and the parcel on the Walmart site. And I also applaud his suggestion to create a permanent buffer zone by establishing a conservation easement. And Trustee Kathy Sundland's wish list recommendation that buildings 5 and 6 be removed from the site plan. That would be, if in the scenario where this really does go through, that would at least mitigate the problem quite a bit. Having a buffer zone, that would help with drainage. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Seeing none, public comment is closed at 6:07 PM. Next on our agenda is item 6, the Township Manager Report. Manager Dempsey.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Hendrickson. Good evening, board members. So a number of items tonight, segueing on our public comment. I just want to clarify that, as we know, the Authentics project is not on this evening's agenda. That was at the request of the developer who wanted some additional time to evaluate the discussion from the last meeting and then come forward, likely back to the board maybe in January for further discussion. As I had communicated last week, we did our best to notify the residents. We did not have enough time to do a mail notice, but we did email residents who submitted electronic communication. So we did try to get the word out to the neighborhood on that. Another reminder for residents, I've mentioned this in the past, but we continue to see email scams where somebody poses as a township official trying to get a wire, monetary wire process. So if any residents ever have an email where we're asking to wire money to the township, please do not follow those instructions. We never do that. We accept payments and other electronic forms, but not wires. If anyone ever has a question, they can call the township, and we're happy to talk that through with them. Some good news, as many of us know, the Grand River M43 bridge is open again. So even though that was not a township project, it was an MDOT project, we appreciate all of our residents and the patience that they had. It's also my understanding that the pedestrian bridge, that's not yet open. The safety railing is a few months behind schedule to get installed, but that should be happening certainly by springtime. As the weather changes, it's hard to believe that just before Thanksgiving, it was 51 degrees the week before Thanksgiving. Needless to say, with this winter weather and the precipitation that we've gotten, the white stuff that nobody likes to shovel, we just remind residents to please keep their sidewalks clear. We have received a fair amount of complaints already from residents, so we just ask people to do that. We have a great opportunity, I think, the next few days to clean up some of the snow and ice, so for people that haven't been able to get to that, this is a good chance to go out there and sort of start anew. And then with the cold weather, of course, that doesn't stop our Parks and Rec team from many events. So just this week, we have Santa's Woodland Stroll, that's tomorrow night, and Thursday is the Grinch Miss Walk, both of which are at Nancy Moore Park, starting at 5:45 p.m. And then this Saturday from 6 to 8 in Marketplace on the Green, we'll have the holiday skate party. So we bring out a synthetic ice rink, and there'll be skate rentals and other things. Everybody can learn a whole lot more about those events, the details on our website, as well as other events. I haven't hit them all. And then this being the last meeting of our last board meeting of 2025, I just wanted to recognize our staff, the board members, our countless board and commission volunteers, as well as our other township volunteers for all the great work that everyone did in 2025. I appreciate it, appreciate that, and wish everyone a happy new year and enjoyable holiday season for everyone. So I appreciate that. And one special shout out to Katie Love and the Meridian Cares crew and all the donors for the dozens of families that they've been able to assist this holiday season with food baskets and other support. So really appreciate what they do for those who are less fortunate in our community. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, any questions about the manager's report? Okay, seeing none. Next on our agenda is item 7, board member reports of activities and announcements. Any board members with reports of activities and announcements this evening? Trustee Wilson.
I'd just like to report that the Santa's First Responders Party last Saturday fed 600 kids and their families, low-income kids, and then each child got to pick out a high-value toy. It was a phenomenal party over at Murphy School. I was there the whole time, and we had a blast. So it's another good thing we do to help people out in this community that may not be as fortunate as we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other board members? Trustee Lentz.
Thank you. As the liaison to the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission, and while I have only seen a handful of members of the public join those meetings, I did want to indicate that the meeting has been moved. It is no longer tomorrow evening at the Tri-County Regional Planning Office. But I encourage anyone and everyone interested in learning about regional projects to join us at those meetings. They are quite interesting, learning about collaboration. But that meeting will be canceled this month.
Okay, thank you very much. Other reports? Seeing none. Our next agenda item is item 8, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
Move to approve the agenda.
It's been moved by Trustee Wilson. Supported by Trustee Lentz. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of the agenda as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is item 9, our consent agenda. We have a number of items on our consent agenda this evening, including communications with the Township Board, the minutes from our December 2nd, 2025 regular Township Board meeting, the bills, a number of reappointments for boards and commissions, the proposal for the Hazlet Road corridor study that we talked about at our last meeting, and some amendments to the Ingham County Trails and Parks Millage grant agreements that you saw in your packets. And before we move this, I'll just take a moment to add my thanks to our board and commission members for their continued willingness to serve on our various boards and commissions. We look very much forward to having them continue to serve the township well as they have for so long. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda this evening? Trustee Trezise.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Wilson. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Clerk Demas, yes. Trustee Lentz.
Yes.
Trustee Sumlin.
Yes.
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. All right, next on our agenda is our public hearing for the evening. This is Hazlet Village Square Brownfield Redevelopment Plan Amendment Number 2. And to give us a primer on this, we have Neighborhood and Economic Development Director Amber Clark.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, in front of the board, you will consider a second amendment to the Hazlet Village Square Brownfield Redevelopment Plan submitted by the Meridian Township Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, the Hazlet Village Square Development Team, and Triterra. The proposed plan supports the approved MUPUD for the Hazlet Village Square redevelopment project in the southeast corner of Hazlet and Marsh Road. The planned redevelopment includes about 23,000 square feet of commercial space and over 100,000 square feet of residential space on the property. This amendment follows a denial letter from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for the previously approved plan by this body dated June 30 of 2025. Our brownfield financing policy allows for the inclusion of housing units as long as those housing units are served for incomes at 120% or less of the area median income. And the board approved our current policy with specific housing parameters requiring at least 20% of the subsidized units to be affordable of the project. And the board at that time also encouraged a brownfield plan not to exceed 20 years. To align with MISHDA's expectations for an approved housing TIF plan, the proposed amendment in front of you includes 30 subsidized units, a 26-year brownfield plan estimated at $16.4 million. We're holding a public hearing tonight for public comment on the proposed plan, and later tonight the board will have the opportunity to discuss the details of the plan with staff and the developer.
Thank you very much. At this point, members of the public, if you'd like to address this particular agenda item, we have another public comment period on this item at this time. Public hearing is open at 6:17 p.m. I don't see anyone rushing to the table for green cards or raising their hands or gesticulating wildly. Give everyone one more opportunity, and the public hearing is closed at 6:17 p.m. All right. Our next agenda item is item 11A for action. This is the Supervisor Pro Tem appointment for 2026. So for those who are relatively new to the board, we appoint from our group of 4 trustees a member of one of our trustees to be the Supervisor Pro Tem for a calendar year. The roles and responsibilities are to take over as board chair if I were to be absent for a meeting, or to speak to the press if it's not possible for me to act as the board's press liaison at that time. It really doesn't extend a whole lot beyond that. When I first became supervisor in 2024, Trustee Trezise served for the rest of that year. Trustee Wilson has been in 2025. And so next on the list would be Trustee Lentz, who has graciously accepted the offer. And so my recommendation would be to appoint Trustee Lentz as Supervisor Pro Tem for 2026. So with that, I'll leave it to you to discuss. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have along the way. Trustee Wilson.
Do you prefer to make the motion?
I don't know that I'm permitted to as chair. I typically don't. So Trustee Wilson.
I will make the motion then. I move that the board appoint through December 31st, 2026, Trustee Nicholas Lentz to act as Supervisor Pro Tem at any meeting of the Township Board wherein the supervisor is absent and may act with the statutory authority of Township Supervisor when specifically delegated that authority by the supervisor in writing.
I'll support.
Been moved by Trustee Wilson, supported by Trustee Trezise. Any discussion? Trustee Wilson?
It's a very difficult job. So I hope that you are willing to take on this mantle of responsibility. I was never called all year to step in to the supervisor role, so.
And I appreciate that. you have given. And I do appreciate the trust that this role comes with. So I'm looking forward to serving if I am called upon to do so in this role.
I can tell you I don't have any planned absences that I'm aware of at this time. So we're just hoping that my kids don't get me too sick.
Right.
I wish you all the luck in the world on that front.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next up is the fourth quarter budget amendments, item 11B. For this, we have Manager Dempsey.
Yes, good evening again. Thank you. In the absence of our finance director, I'm here this evening to discuss our Q4 budget amendments, but hopefully by next quarter, Ernie will be back and in front of you discussing these. Thanks to Plant Moran, our financial consultants who have been working with us on this, as well as all of our directors who obviously spend a lot of time reviewing their funds and honing things in to get this as accurate as possible. The Q4 budget amendment, a little bit different, of course, than our first three quarters, just because of the timing of it. We have to adopt this before the end of the year. And as you know, we're a couple weeks out, so we ask just to look ahead a little bit more and forecast, but we think we have a pretty good handle and accurate figures here. So I just want to touch on a couple highlights and then open it up for any specific questions. The good news is the general fund, as indicated in my cover memo, we're expecting to see, in addition to our fund balance of just over $350,000, that's really driven by some revenue line items that we're seeing big increases in, particularly building permits and interest earnings. We have had some additional cost above budget in various categories, some legal fees, some staff OT in different areas, and operational expenses. But those are also largely offset by other expense reduction. So in a good footing with our fund balance, the projected December 31st fund balance will actually be just over 13 million. Of course, that is just projected. As all of you know, once we go through the audit process in early 26, we'll get the final numbers there. So there could be adjustments and revisions to that, but I think we're looking like we're in good shape. Special revenue funds, a number of revenue adjustments there, as well as fee collections. Interest earnings, that's a consistent theme we've seen, of course, with higher interest rates. That's actually one of the benefits we get, one of those things that help offset the increases in inflation that we've experienced like everybody else out there. Those funds, though, again, predominantly seeing contributions to fund balance. Our component unit funds, we didn't have any amendments earlier in the year, typically because these operate a little bit differently. Most of that money, of course, is dedicated for specific use, whether it's the Brownfield Authority, the DDA, or the Corridor Improvement Authority. But a lot of that, again, unplanned revenue that we've seen in modifications based on project activity. Debt service funds, just some tweaks to the road retirement fund where we've seen, again, increased revenues based on some additional property tax revenue. The fire station debt service did have some minor revenue, but as you know, that debt has been defeased. So we are working with our legal counsel to take any small remaining funds and allocate those according to statute and the provisions of law that restrict us. And then the enterprise funds, sewer, water, and the motor pool funds, there were some adjustments there, particularly on the revenue side. But again, because of the timing of where we're at the end of the year, it can be a little bit difficult with the water fund in particular because of the revenue yet forthcoming with respect to, in particular, the water irrigation that we have over the summer months in those bills. Could yet adjust that, but we like to be conservative on that. And then we did have some decreases, including our advanced metering infrastructure and cost because of the timing of that as we continue to roll those out over time. So before you this evening is a motion to approve these amendments, and then the dollar amounts allocated for the general fund are in there as well. So with that, I'm happy to stop there and take any questions that you might have with any of the other changes that are of interest.
Thank you very much. Board members, any questions? Trustee Sunland?
Just an observation, I think we've been hovering around this figure, the 13,071,859, for years. We are so consistent that we have money left over around the 12, 13,000 range, or not
Million,
thousand,
yeah.
million. So I just think that is really, we're so consistent, is what I'm saying. We do a good job. And it's been since the 9 years I've been on the board, but I just wanted to give a kudos to, Meridian Township. We're being very fiscally responsible.
Thank you very much. Trustee Trezise?
I would just like to thank the manager and his crew for putting together a very legible and understandable document here that we can go through, and I appreciate the efforts from all.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Other board members? And if there's no further discussion, there's a motion. Yes, Trustee Trezise?
I would like to move that we waive our normal process that would require 2 meetings for this and go ahead and pass this tonight.
It's been moved to suspend our rules for immediate consideration. Does it have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Sunland. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we have an actual motion to be made.
Yeah, I'm getting back to it, okay. I move to approve the fourth quarter 2025 budget amendments with an increase in budgeted fund balance for the general fund in the amount of $351,697, which projects an increase in fund balance of $418,599 based on 2024 results. Projected fund balance at December 31, 2025 will be $13,071,859.
It's been moved by Trustee Trezise. Do we have a second?
Second.
Supported by Trustee Lentz. Any further discussion at this time?
Echoing the thank you of Trustee Trezise on this, understanding these budgetary tables has been very helpful for us as new board members. I imagine clerk feels the same way.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, Clerk Demas, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. And thank you. Next on our agenda is item 11C, the Senior Center Oakland Public Schools Memorandum of Understanding. We have Parks and Rec Director Wazinski here.
Good evening, Board.
I'm sorry, Trustee Trezise.
I am still doing some work for the school district, so I would ask permission from the board to recuse myself from this discussion.
Yes, and I believe we decided that was something we had to vote on.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to allow Trustee Trezise to recuse himself?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Wilson. Do we have a second? Supported by Clerk Demas. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Trustee Trezise.
Good evening, Board. I first want to mention thank you for taking time to a moment of silence for Dr. Herring Jackson. She was one of my most favorite people in the world. I learned a lot from her on the board, so I appreciate that. I wore red pants for her. Red was her favorite color, red Cadillac, red Jeep, red coat, and I believe a red suitcase. Okay, to tonight's business. What you see here is coming back to you. It is the updated memorandum of understanding between Okemos Public Schools and Meridian Township for the existing senior center, Meridian Senior Center at Chippewa Middle School. The previous agreement from 2011 was very limited in details, and as we had conversations throughout the potential for a new community center, we looked at this and thought it needed updated. So the current one you have here is updated based on comments that we received from the board last meeting, specifically around who would be responsible for the management of the senior center coordinator, as well as who would be overseeing the programming. So if you see in your packet, there's a redlined version. In that version, we did a little cleanup and removed the senior center advisory board from page 2, section 2B, and reiterated that the township is here to assist the coordinator in the programming of the senior center. And then you'll see within the responsibilities of OPS, they are responsible for the management of the actual senior center coordinator. I can say to date, we've never had an instance where there was something that we needed to work out through together, but I see it staying similar, where I help with programming, or our department helps with programming, and anything specific to the employment would go through Okemos Public Schools. So I ask here that you consider to approve the new updated Meridian Senior Center Memorandum of Understanding between Meridian Township and Okemos Public Schools, retroactively dated to January 1, 2025, and expiring upon the planned closure of the current Chippewa Middle School in May of 28. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you very much. Are you hoping for action this evening, or are you hoping, I see it's on the action agenda. I guess we did take this up.
We did have a
previous
discussion.
meeting,
There has
so-
been changes, so
Sure.
they were minimal.
Very good. Okay. Board members, any discussion at this time? Yes, Trustee Wilson.
This has always been a challenging situation where we don't actually share the oversight. We have OPS employees that are indirectly being supervised by township staff. So next time we do this, we should probably delineate those responsibilities. That said, I think the changes that you've made are very clear. I think the direction is clear. We know that the center, as it stands today, has a very limited shelf life of 2.5 years. So I think this is appropriate that we make this memorandum of understanding, get it down in writing, and we'll just proceed forward as we see what evolves with the senior center. Thank you.
Thank you. Other board members? Trustee Lance.
Excuse me, I was just going to say, I appreciate the changes made after that discussion. I went back, but in reviewing this agenda, and it feels like that red line version addressed some of those concerns and liabilities that we had. So thank you for putting pen to paper on this, Director Wazinski. And with that, I'm willing to make a motion unless there's a discussion.
I don't see any other discussion. You're welcome to retain the floor.
Yeah. I move to approve the Meridian Senior Center Memorandum of Understanding, Operations Agreement between the Charter Township of Meridian and Okemos Public Schools, retroactively dated for January 1st, 2025, and expiring upon the planned closure of the current Chippewa Middle School facility in May of 2028.
It's been moved by Trustee Lentz. Do we have a second?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Wilson. Okay, any further discussion at this time? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, board. I'm going to head to Santa Paws now.
Enjoy. We're all jealous. All righty, that brings us to our discussion items for this evening. We bring back Director Clark because we're back to the Hazlet Village Square BRA Amendment Number 2, 1655, 1621 Hazlet Road. Welcome back.
Hello. It's been
Did anything change?
so long, right, since we last talked. So thank you again for having us here this evening. As mentioned in the memo, we submitted the approved Hazlet Village Square Amendment 1 to the Michigan State Housing Development Authority September 23rd. And we received notification from MISTA November 5th that we had been denied. I reached out to Triterra staff, consulting staff, and we organized a meeting with the administrative review team from MISTA for our specific plan. Met with them. There were a few items that they had on the full denial letter that we went over that we ironed out during that meeting. But there were two critical elements that we could not find a solution for at that meeting with administrative staff. We set up a secondary meeting with MISTA and their review staff, but also the leadership team that grants the review staff their purview of what they can approve. During that meeting, the two items that are still critical, the inclusion of the commercial building on the corner of the property at the intersection of Marsh Road and Hazlet Road, as well as the ratio of subsidized units, MISTA was not, during that meeting, capable of making any additional allowances for the plan that we had submitted. That original plan submitted in September is about an 11% total housing ratio for the subsidized units. So MISTA included the for sale townhomes in the total unit count, right? And we all know that the for sale townhomes are going to be supported by some of the site preparation and infrastructure from the TIF plan, but those units are not going to be subsidized. They're going to be market rate for sale units. MISTA still wanted to include them because they are housing units, and so that brought our total ratio down. After discussions with MISTA during that second meeting, they gave us essentially respectful advice that if the plan had a 15% subsidized unit ratio, that would be something that the review staff could approve. If we wanted to continue with the 11% ratio, we would then more than likely have to go to the MISTA board. We'd be publicly in front of the state. And since that wasn't a precedent or isn't a precedent that they have set to make an allowance for an 11% project, more than likely it would be denied. So our best bet is to reapply with a plan that we believe that MISTA will approve. When we originally brought this plan, the first plan amendment to the board, we were also trying to construct a TIF plan that stayed within 20 years or so. We had a few discussions publicly, even at this level, about the increased number of subsidized units over the whole project, and an increase of units increased the plan terms. So this proposal tonight does have a 26-year capture included, and it is a larger number. The developers are here tonight to kind of explain some of the financing and intricacies of the amendment, but essentially with that side-by-side comparison, you see it's an increase of that 7 units, and it's a reallocation of the funding into the approved buckets. It also removed or moved the commercial building on the corner, the eligible brownfield activities for those that were dumped into the township's bucket of funding and removed from MISTA's bucket of funding because they will not support that because it's not housing. So it's one of those things where, you know, we wouldn't know what MISTA would or would not approve until we submitted a plan. We had to go through their process. We were denied. We do believe that this is a plan that they can approve. It is an increase of 1.9 million and an additional 3 years for the overall plan. And we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. So we're talking about 7 more units. We're talking about 3 more years. And you said it's 1.9 million more in eligible expenses. Do we have to go to other jurisdictions? I know that others were included in the TIF. Do we have to go back to them and ask them for further extensions as well?
No. Nope. So the creation of the brownfield TIF to asking the jurisdictions to participate, that happened when you established it. When we're going to have a brownfield plan discussed, we notify the tax jurisdictions that are going to be included in the plan through a regular notice.
Okay. Got it. Well, that's good. Board members, any questions or discussion? Yes, Trustee Lentz.
Thank you for walking through this document a bit. I did have a question on the the middle of that, page 62 that we're, have in front of us, the housing subsidy plus gap, with that increase of 2.568 million, is that a consequence of removing that commercial building, or like why is that number such a drastic jump considering we're talking 23 as compared to 30?
Yes, absolutely. It's a great question. Brownfield asked the same question. So that, as you can see from our approved plan, June 30, that $2 million, it left a large amount of gap still left in the plan, right? The developers didn't need it. The original plan you approved, the gap wasn't necessary. Because MISTA won't include the commercial building, we had to realign our finances. We did put the commercial elements into the portion of that gap, so we essentially now have no gap left to make sure the project work to include the eligible activities for the commercial building.
Okay.
So that's what that 2.5 adjustment is.
Okay, thank you. And you said with that, with the change being a lack of gap, what are the consequences of that? Is it just because of the length of the term being increased?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not that this project is drastically capturing more year over year. It's just a consequence of that increased time?
Correct,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That was a big number.
It did jump, but again, I was trying to catch that. Original plan, we had the commercial building, the site preparation and infrastructure included in the housing plan because we believed that was acceptable. Those are eligible brownfield activities traditionally. MISTA has said that even though they are traditional brownfield activities, since they are not tied to any of the housing, so it's not a commercial, it's not a community hub for the housing, it doesn't do anything for the housing, it's not the basement, for the vertical mixed use even for the housing, that it cannot be included. But it's a part of our MUPUD, we still want it, we're gonna include it on the township side.
And now that we've gone through this process with this, first time after we as a board discuss it, I would imagine that the back and forth between Meridian and any potential developer that wants to look towards brownfield credits, we would be able to make it clear to them that we have an understanding that MISTA is looking for a 15% minimum.
Correct,
In
yep.
the future, okay.
Yes, in the future, we would say we have a project we've gone through, we've been educated in their process,
Yeah.
and this is the situation, absolutely.
And last question, is that 15% like a standard for everyone in the state, or is it communities like ours with 40,000+ XP? Like, is that a flowy number? Is that a hard and fast number? I'm just curious.
I would say flowy might be the
Okay.
definition. I don't think that MISTA will set it as a standard. Their language was state average projects
Okay.
coming in at 15 to 20%. They did not want to make Meridian the guinea pig for issuing a project that didn't meet state average projects, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I can understand why that
Yes.
that is their goal there. Thank you for answering all these questions.
You're welcome. We do hope that the board may consider suspending the rules this evening. The sooner that we can reapply to MISTA, it starts a 60-day clock. So they have 60 days to reply with a denial, a conditional approval, or approval to any plan they receive. So the sooner that we can issue, even if MISTA's not going to review in the next couple of weeks, that's still 14 days that the clock is running, that will put pressure on them to review a plan that I do truly believe they will approve.
Well, I'll add that I appreciate these changes. I mean, my biggest concern with the previous version of the plan was that it was not enough workforce housing to begin with. And so MISTA has sort of forced the hand of on everyone here, which is fine, I think, in this case. We're getting 7 more affordable units, and we're getting all of them for 3 years longer. I presume that all 30 would have to be for that full 20.
Duration of the plan. Duration of the plan.
So that's actually, we get a benefit of those additional units, but we also get the existing ones for longer. And I think that's in general a good thing. So I'll be supporting this, and I would be supportive of suspending our rules in order to make this process a little more efficient now that we know where we're at. Any other board members? I think we need a motion to suspend our rules. If one's willing to make that, yes.
I'll make the motion to suspend our rules, to take action on this tonight.
Okay.
Support.
Been moved and supported to suspend our rules for immediate consideration. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion carries. We have suspended our rules for immediate consideration. There is a motion in our packet. If someone would like to do that, yes.
I'll make the motion. Move to adopt the resolution authorizing a second amendment to the Hazlet Village Square Brownfield Plan for properties at 1621 through 1655 Hazlet Road with a total incremental revenue to be captured not to exceed $16,487,283 over a 26-year capture period.
Okay, it's been moved by trustee Lentz.
Support.
Supported by trustee Trezise. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Trustee Sunland.
Yes.
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Trustee Lentz.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
We'll see you in the spring.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is item 12B, Cornell Road, White Oak Drive, Right Wind Drive, Fox Chase Sanitary Sewer Payback District. Got to find a way to punch up the titles of these. And we have Deputy Manager Opsimer here to talk to us about that.
Good evening Supervisor Hendrickson and board members. So as part of the 2026 local road program, we are going to be resurfacing the roads in this neighborhood that we are proposing a sanitary sewer payback district for. And about approximately 3 weeks ago, one of the property owners within the neighborhood contacted us because her private septic is beginning to fail. And so she wanted to weigh what options she had. So she was contacting us to find out if we had sanitary main in the neighborhood that she could connect to, or if she needed to replace her septic tank or maintenance it. Unfortunately, we do not have sanitary sewer in this neighborhood. But we do have sanitary sewer to the north and to the south. So traditionally, in situations like this, there's two options. One of which is to establish a payback district, and the principal cost of construction is paid back by each benefiting parcel. In this case, there would be 15 benefiting parcels, so they would all pay 1/15 of the cost at the point in which they choose to connect to the system. They are not forced to connect to the system. The alternative, which we've pursued more historically, but we have done both, is a special assessment district. So 15% of the acreage, well, property owners representing over 50% of the acreage within the payback district, or the proposed payback district, would have to sign a petition in order for a special assessment district to move forward. What we found historically is that is exceedingly challenging because you have property owners having their septic systems fail at different times. So you end up with staggered financial circumstances for different property owners. Property owners who just recently replaced their septic fields are not going to be inclined to sign because they're going to be forced to pay for both the public system and their private system in a very short window of time, basically the same financial period of time. So historically, that has not worked well, and given the local road program that we have now, we're trying to coordinate these projects, whether they be storm drain spot repairs or sanitary sewer repairs or extensions of the sanitary sewer system, or even Consumers Energy's natural gas mains and service lines. So we're trying to coordinate holistically with all infrastructure projects so that we minimize the need to cut these new roads. So given that, and given the challenges with special assessment districts, we're recommending a payback district. The other thing that we're recommending in this case is a forced main rather than a traditional gravity sewer. We did this with Silverstone Estates off Powell Road. Essentially, the other dynamic, similar to SADs, the economics on gravity sewers is upside down now with inflation. it would be about $90,000 per home to construct a traditional gravity sewer in this neighborhood. The proposed system will actually be more reliable long-term because it will be HDPE plastic. It will have very few joints in it, so there will be very few joints that roots can infiltrate. The counterbalance to that is that each property owner will have to have a grinder pump, which basically turns their sanitary waste into a slurry, and then it pumps it out to the main. And then the main pumps it to the traditional gravity sewer at Hatch and Cornell. This has worked very well in Silverstone Estates. The only caveat, which is something that we would touch on with all property owners when they do connect, is that if they are without power, if they do not have a backup generator to power their grinder pump, they would have to cease water use for that period of time. So that's one consideration, but nevertheless, when you look at all the economics, it is cheaper than replacing a septic system today. The grinder pump and a Generac system would be cheaper than just replacing a septic field. And some of these property owners are going to have limited acreage to replace a septic field. So with that, we looked at our budgeting for the upcoming year. We just got the bids in for the Forest Hills Lift Station contract. That was actually it was around $250,000 under what we had budgeted for. So that allows us to pencil in this project pretty nicely. So we would construct it. If the board is willing to do a payback district, we would proceed with design, bidding, and construction, and then coordinate with the local road program to come in and resurface the roads after construction has been completed. That is a overview of how we've handled these situations historically and the two options. More than happy to answer any questions the board may have.
And you're hoping for efficacy as well?
Yes, as has been the trend tonight, we do have to get a coordination clause into the local road program contract, and we also need to get the bidding and design underway very quickly. So we would hope that the board would give approval tonight if this is something that you want to pursue.
Thank you very much. Okay. I had just one question, and it's my own lack of going to look this information up. These properties are within the USB?
Yes.
Okay. It's close enough to the line. I wasn't entirely sure. I just wanted to make sure before we get down a rabbit hole here.
Yep, there's already water in the neighborhood, but it doesn't extend all the way in.
Mm-hmm. So what happens if they use water when there isn't power?
They would more or less cause a sewer backup for themselves.
Okay.
Their wastewater would have no outlet.
Is this a unique scenario in this particular, would this be the first of its kind in the township?
Nope, Silverstone Estates off Powell Road was constructed with the same exact system.
Right, yes, sorry. Those folks, that's a relatively new development.
Correct.
Presumably, the folks who are living there are all the first-time owners of those properties. And so my follow-up is there any kind of notice of that when a new home, when someone purchases one of those homes from the original buyer? Because we communicate with them the first time, but like, how does the next person know?
Grinder pumps are rather large. They do occupy, it's a strange-looking utility that you would have in your basement. So in that sense, I think most homeowners would be inquisitive and want to understand what that device is in their basement. So there's that dynamic. I would only be speculating, though, right, on a point of sale, how a realtor is going to, and a current homeowner is going to exchange information. But that's something where we could look at even recommending that they post a sign above the grinder pump, just so that there's knowledge, right, that that pump is critical for outletting their sanitary wastewater.
Yeah.
And if they don't have power, that they need to cease water usage.
They're going to call you either way, so
Yeah.
when it happens, they're going to call you, so.
It's a private issue, but it's certainly going to be a different type of call, right? And it will happen occasionally. But property owners do have a responsibility to understand their home and
They sure do.
understand how their home operates.
Well, this certainly makes more sense than a special assessment district. You know, one failing property is not going to cover, 15% of the property owners in the area. And as you point out, they don't have the, they're not kind enough to all fail at the same time to make that a more feasible solution. So I'm supportive of that. Trustee Wilson.
I have a question, because there is not going to be a special assessment district. Is there still a notification to the homeowners that access to sewer will be available at some point in time?
Yeah, the first such notice will essentially be the construction notice. But I suspect with their, there's really only 12 homes in the neighborhood, and then the 3 along Cornell Road. The property owner who's been in contact with us, we'll be in contact with her this week to let her know that if the board proceeds with this, that the board has proceeded, and that we will be moving forward with construction so that she can make that part of her determination on what she's going to do. And I'm sure word will spread through the other 12 homes before we even get a construction notice out. But we'll try to draft the construction notice such that it's not only informing them about what to expect during construction, but also what this means for them, right, as a property owner moving forward, and what their options are.
I see this as no different from the common practice that we've had in this township over the decades, that the line has gone in, and then accessibility is granted as people choose to pay the connection fee and then have that access. I live in an 80-year-old home, and it was not connected. It was built in 46, and it was not connected until sometime in the 70s. So it's the same kind of situation, I believe, and it makes a lot of sense. It's going to be available, and then the homeowner can choose to connect.
Yeah, we feel strongly that this is the model, both from a design standpoint and just using payback districts versus SADs. Really, unless something changes on the economics of civil infrastructure, this is the model moving forward.
A grinder pump for every home.
Or a generator.
Sadly, where we're at.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for preemptively answering if we've done this somewhere else. So my follow-up was going to be Silverstone Estates. It looks like it's similar size in terms of additional units joining. I'm curious how many people have joined since we undertook this there, and have we heard any complaints, praise, any comments at all outside of just happy to be on second best water in the state for the first time?
Yep, so we have 25 homes in Silverstone Estates. Mm-hmm. They are all connected because they were all connected during the development.
Oh.
Because that's a new development, right? So every home was connected through the development, construction versus retrofitting a neighborhood like we're proposing now. I seem to recall one call that we received during a short power outage where the property owner just wanted to touch base and make sure that they understood what that meant and what they needed to do during a power outage.
And if we were to take action tonight, would it be beneficial for us to include some sort of language around posting information? So what the supervisor mentioned of new owners coming in and not knowing, no power means no water. Is that possible for us to do here, or even necessary, or can that be done through some other avenue?
I don't think it's necessary. We'll make sure that it's in all of our communications to the property owners, right? And we try to call out, so that'll be highlighted, bolded, and we'll probably do a mailing. I mean, when they have to connect, right? So they're going to have to come back to us at some point and say, we're ready to connect. Can you give us, the fee schedule for what that cost is going to look like? And we talk to them, between a half dozen and a dozen times during that process. And so throughout that process, we'll be talking to them to educate. And they're going to have to get the grinder pump installed, right? So they're going to be contracting with a private vendor to, it'll probably be through their contractor that connects their lateral, their private lateral to the public storm system that will install their grinder pump. And so their contractor will also be talking to them. They'll be very educated. I think the challenge will be when homes sell. Right.
Thank you. And then my last question, if anyone who lives on this street decides for whatever reason that they do not have an interest of ever joining and they plan on staying there for 50 years, is there a hole in our, in our budget because of the expected future payback related to this that we'll need to think about potentially for, will always be on the books, or is that not how the financing around this works? Am I not understanding that correctly?
There wouldn't be, the only way that they would be forced to connect is if the health department rules that they either need to replace their septic or connect. I mean, they would still be given the option to install a private septic field if they wanted to, but today that would cost $40,000 to $50,000, whereas connecting would cost probably $20,000 to $25,000. There's a pretty significant gap in the cost.
So rather unrealistic then.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that the economics on that are gonna, flip 180 on us. So I suspect over time, over the next 20 years, all 15 properties would connect at some point.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Well, we've been requested to suspend our rules. Do we have a motion to suspend our rules this evening? Trustee Trezise?
I move to suspend the rules to take this matter up for action tonight.
It's been moved by Trustee Trezise. Do we have a support?
Second.
Supported by Trustee Lentz. We have a motion on the table to suspend our rules for immediate consideration. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's a motion for us on the table, or in front of us, I guess. And we would like to make that. Trustee Trezise.
I move to authorize township staff to proceed with design, bidding, and construction of a sanitary sewer to serve parcels location on Cornell Road, White Oak Drive, Right Wind Drive, Fox Chase, and bring back a resolution to establish the Cornell Road, White Oak Drive, White Wind Drive, Fox Chase Sanitary Sewer Payback District, and the associated benefit charges once the final costs of the construction are known.
It's been moved by Trustee Trezise, supported by Trustee Lentz. Any further discussion at this time? Seeing none, I don't think this is money related. This is just authorizing the moving forward. We can do a voice vote on that, I suspect. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is item 13, comments from the public. Any members of the public wishing to make comments at this time? Seeing none, public comment is closed at 7:02 p.m. Item 14 is other matters and board member comments. Any other matters and board member comments this evening? Seeing none, item 15 is a closed session. We have a motion to enter closed session. Would anyone be willing to make that motion? Trustee Trezise.
Move to enter in closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268, paren 1, close paren H, close paren, to consult with the township attorney regarding a confidential written legal opinion and pursuant to MCLA 15.268, 1E, pending litigation in the Eagan County Circuit Court, being case number 25-3647-CZ, because discussion of litigation and settlement strategy in an open meeting would have a detrimental financial impact on the litigation and settlement position of the township.
A mouthful.
Yes.
Do we have a support for
Skipped
that?
a sentence.
I did?
I'll support.
Supported by Trustee Sunland. Thank you. The motion before us is to enter into closed session for two reasons, as enumerated by Trustee Trezise and is written on our agenda. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk Demas, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Clerk Demus, yes. Trustee Lentz.
Yes.
Trustee Sunland.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be entering closed session. Board members, like to take 2 minutes and stretch our legs before we get started.
legal counsel to approve presented settlement agreement for Ingham County Circuit Court Case Number 25-3647-CZ.
It's been moved by Clerk Demus. Do we have a second?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Trezise. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk Demus, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Clerk Demus, yes. Trustee Lentz.
Yes.
Trustee Sumlin.
Yes.
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Now, I understand there is a second motion to be made, but before we do, Clerk Demus.
I would like to recuse myself for this motion, so it's okay with everyone.
Okay, we need a motion to allow Clerk Demus to recuse herself from the succeeding motion.
I move to allow Clerk Demus to recuse herself from the upcoming motion.
Okay. Support. It's been moved by Trustee Trezise, supported by Trustee Wilson. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Clerk Demus, you are permitted to recuse yourself. We have a motion to be made. Trustee Wilson.
I move to authorize participation of Attorney Mills, Attorney Fleury, and Manager Dempsey in a previously authorized investigation, which is in no manner to be construed as a waiver of the attorney-client privilege or work product doctrine protections.
It's been moved by Trustee Wilson. Do we have a support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Trezise. Any discussion? Seeing none, does this require a roll call?
I would say so.
Okay, no?
There's no reason to roll call. This is yours. There's no specific reason to roll call.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Clerk Demus, if you're within the sound of, yeah, okay, thank you. We've got very important business yet. Next on our agenda is adjournment. Trustee Trezise moves to adjourn. Do we have a support? Support. Supported by Trustee Lentz. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned at 8:41 PM.